Even without 20 horses, the Derby field is big enough to make ground loss and traffic major factors. There also isn't much true early speed, which will probably stack things up and give an advantage to those that do have speed. Finnick the Fierce isn't fast enough to contend against these, even if he moves forward a couple of points. Max Player has looked like he was ready to break through for some time now, but has not. He goes to Asmussen, and with Santana and an inside post, should save ground. If he does finally make that forward move, it could get him into the exotics. Enforceable is similar in ability to Max Player, but his pattern is not nearly as good for a new top, and he's likely to be wide again. Storm the Court really hasn't done anything wrong, save for that stinker at Oaklawn. He ran much better than it looked at Thistledown, and we've forgiven the bounce last time trying turf. There's a good chance this guy will get right back to his top, and with more early speed than the ones drawn inside, that could get him into this. We have seen much crazier long shots. Major Fed isn't fast. It doesn't look like he's going anyplace important short term. King Guillermo exploded when he went turf to dirt at Tampa and didn't back up that much at Oaklawn. This barn is tremendous off layoffs. He's lurking like a fiend, and his top puts him right there even without improvement. Camacho would not be our first choice, but this colt has tactical speed and a good draw. Major Player. Money Moves didn't run that fast in his first two, but definitely did last time despite losing in allowance. A bounce is more likely than not, but he's lightly raced and one of the faster horses and gets Castellano, so he's worth using at a big price. And it's worth noting that Pletcher is running this one instead of Dr. Post. South Bend is heavily raced and not fast enough to contend. He's not for us. Mr. Big News has done an awful lot of developing, and it looks like the big jump at Oaklawn took a lot out of him. He might get back to that level, but even that won't do him much good here. 1,000 Words was very good right away, then tailed off. He's come back around, but he hasn't improved on his 2-year-old level, and only won last time because Honor AP got hung very wide. It is Baffert, so a new top is possible, but we like his other runner much better. Necker Island is heavily raced and not fast enough. Sole Volante was solid all year until they decided to ship him and run him all on 10 days rest. That worked out about how you would think it would, but now he's had time to recover. This gelding should run well, and there's a good chance for a new top, which makes him a borderline contender. But his running style definitely is a problem with a field this size. Attachment Rate raced wide at Ellis, which earned him about the same figure as the winner. If he runs that well again and can work out a better trip this time, he's in the mix here, but neither of those things is likely. Winning Impression is another that is heavily raced and slow, and even the Dallas Stewart factor won't be enough. NY Traffic had one isolated big effort as a 2-year-old and it knocked him out for a long time. But he finally came around in March, and his last was a breakthrough. Safi has done a good job of spacing this colt's races, and every figure since he's had him was as good or better than the one before. He could bounce off the 3-point new top, but he's had 7 weeks, and with tactical speed and an aggressive rider, if he does pair up, he has a big shot. Honor AP is another that has had his races well spaced. He jumped way forward to win the Santa Anita Derby, then bounced a little at Del Mar while racing wide on both turns. And that's one of the issues here, too. With his running style and that draw, he's got a problem, even if he runs his best, and he's only run that well once. He's a contender, but an underlay. Tizzalaw has always run well, save for the debacle in the slop at Churchill last year. That's the good news. Every figure he's run this year makes him a strong contender here, and yes, He probably could have run a little faster last time. There are 3 ways to read this sheet. One is that's his level and he's going to run to it again. The second is if he can do that so many times without bouncing, he has better in him, and it might be now. The third is he's basically been going without a real break for over a year, and at some point he will tail off. But aside from all that, this colt will be a very short price. There are others about as fast going in if they fire, and he drew a terrible post. He's been wide in much smaller fields, and they will almost certainly ride him like he's the best horse. If he's the outside horse on the turns, he could spot around 2 points in ground loss to several others. All of which means we are not throwing Tizzalaw out, but we are definitely not conceding him the race. Authentic has never gone back, and his race at Monmouth was much better than it looked. This colt has a great pattern, competitive figures, may clear the field before the turn, and oh yeah, Bob Baffert. Yes, the distance is a question, but he ran his top of the longest distance he's tried. We're getting something of a war emblem vibe from this one. So for the bottom line of the Derby, as usual, we will divide it into 4 groups. The D group contains horses we can't use under any circumstances. Finnick the Fierce, Major Fed, Mr. Big News, Necker Island, South Bend, and Winning Impression. The C group contains 4 horses that don't figure to win, but could conceivably get a check. Attachment rate, enforceable, max player, and 1,000 words. The only one of these we're inclined to use is max player. The B group has 4 horses who have some chance to win, but a much better chance to get into the exotics. Honor AP, Money Moves, Solo Volante, and Storm the Court. The last 3 will be very long and are definitely worth using. But the winner will most likely come from the A group. Authentic, NY Traffic, King Guillermo, and Tizzalaw. Since one of these will obviously be much shorter than the others, the value lies in the other 3.